Good afternoon, everybody. It is Melissa Johnson speaking. I am the Principal Psychologist and the Director at Thriving Mind Psychology Clinic located here on the Sunshine Coast. So welcome to vlog 19 of the 90-day vlog challenge. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about breathing. I've just realised that I'm pretty high up there. I'm going to try and move myself down a little bit. There we go. Welcome to vlog 19 of the 90-day vlog challenge. And as I discussed yesterday, today we're going to talk about breathing. And if you recall from the vlog yesterday, I talked about anxiety and I talked about fight and flight. And that part of the brain, the amygdala, which is responsible for fight or flight, can sometimes misinterpret something that's happening in our environment, or it can misinterpret a thought or a feeling or a physical symptom, and it triggers this fight or flight response. Now, the best way to manage that fight and flight response is essentially we need to be able to somehow communicate to the amygdala and tell it, actually, no, we're not under threat, we're okay, and therefore it can start to deactivate that fight or flight response. Now, the best way to do that is actually via the breath. And the reason why this is the case is because the breath is a physical symptom. So if we can regulate the breath, and you'll remember that when we're in fight and flight, our breath is what changes, one of the things that changes. It becomes quite shallow and it can become quite rapid. If we can regulate that and make it a longer, slow breath in and out and make it more controlled, what that does, it actually starts to help de-escalate some of the other symptoms that we experience with fight or flight. And as our heart rate starts to decrease and as our blood starts to become, a little bit more oxygenated, or it slows down the rate of pumping and starts to get to other parts of our body where we need it more, it starts to trigger to the amygdala that actually we're not under threat and that we're okay, and it helps to de-escalate and to switch off the rest of that fight or flight system. So the breath is the best way to communicate to the amygdala, no, I'm not under threat, I am okay. Once we use the breath and we switch off the fight and flight, then remember we're able to use the more helpful parts of our brain, like this part at the front, the prefrontal cortex. And that's where the good rational decision making, problem solving, and all that sort of helpful thought is located. So we need to switch off back here and turn on at the front here, and we do that via the breath. So essentially with controlled breathing, there's about 3 main steps to remember. The first is the breath in through the nose. So it's a nice, long, deep breath in through your nose. Now, what I want you to imagine is if you had a balloon in your belly, I want you to imagine that you're directing the oxygen from your nose deep down into your diaphragm and you're trying to inflate the balloon. So if you were to put a hand on your chest and a hand on your stomach, and you are directing that oxygen deep down into your diaphragm and inflating that balloon deep down into your diaphragm, the air is going to be going down into the best place possible. When we're anxious, what we often do is just chest breathe. So it's quite shallow and it's all sort of located up here in our chest. So we basically want to shift that from just chest breathing down deep into our diaphragm. And we really have to concentrate and focus on directing that oxygen deep down into the diaphragm. So imagining that there is a balloon down there can be really quite helpful, because we're trying to direct that. There's a truck driving by, I'm sorry about that. We need to try and direct that oxygen right deep into our diaphragm or our belly. So really what we'd want to see if we have a hand on our chest and a hand on our belly is that the hand on our diaphragm or our belly is going to be expanding more so than the hand on our chest. And that takes a bit of practice and a little bit of getting used to. So that's the first step, in through the nose, directing it deep down into the belly. That breath in through the nose preferably should be around 4, 5 or 6 seconds if you can. The more you practice this, the longer that breath in that will be that you're able to do. So essentially what you need to do is do what feels comfortable for you, but aim for a nice, long, slow, deep breath in, directing the air to the diaphragm. The next step is just a slight pause, and then it's a breath out through the mouth. And again, this is a long, slow, deep breath out. As if you're blowing on some soup or you're blowing bubbles. It's really quite long and slow. And we want to try and aim for that to also be about 4, 5 or 6 seconds. And in fact, if you can make the breath out even longer than the breath in, that is also really quite beneficial. So 3 steps: in through the nose, directing deep down to the diaphragm for about 4, 5 or 6 seconds. And then the breath out is out through the mouth, and it's a long, slow, deep breath out. And it also needs to go for about 4, 5 or 6 seconds. Again, the more you practice this, the easier it becomes, the more automatic it becomes, and the more able you will be able to use it when you're feeling anxious or panicking. It's not all that effective to wait until you're in the midst of an anxiety or a panic attack even to try and practice this breathing then. It's best to try and practice it each day, even if it's just for 5 breaths a day, so that when you actually need to utilize the breath, it feels a little bit more natural and it feels a little bit more automatic. So that is my tips: in through the nose, out through the mouth, nice, long, slow, and directing it deep to the diaphragm. And also practice every day. So try practicing, even if it's just for 5 breaths a day, and make it, when you're doing something really boring that you have to do every day. So if it's while you're washing up or while you're driving the car, every time you hit a stoplight, while you're loading the clothes into the washing machine, use that as your trigger point to remind you to practice your breathing. Even if you're not stressed, even if you're not anxious, it's still a good time. In fact, that's the best time to practice. Okay, so with that in mind, I thought I might just take some time now to actually take you through a guided breathing exercise. It's not going to go for too long. It's just to sort of give you a bit of a taste or a bit of an introduction. There's plenty of apps available online where you can listen to someone guiding you, breathing, or lots of different actual mindfulness and meditation strategies. So thank you so much for watching me live. I am about to do a breathing exercise. So maybe you're at lunch and you might enjoy a nice breathing strategy before you have to head back to work. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to flick you around so you're not looking at me. And you're going to look at this little water pot here. And I am going to walk you through a guided meditation exercise. Okay, so to start off with, when you are doing a guided or any sort of breathing exercise, particularly when you're practicing, what you would like to do ideally is to be seated in a comfortable chair, and also try and have your feet flat on the ground and your hands uncrossed. Basically, you just want to be sitting in a nice, comfortable position. So if you can at the moment, just get yourself in a comfortable position and just sit nice and comfortably. And it's now time to focus on your breath. So start by taking a nice, slow, deep breath in through the nose and really directing that oxygen deep down into the diaphragm. And when you're ready, long, deep breath out through the mouth. Each breath in, directing it deep down to the diaphragm. And each breath out, long, slow, deep breath out. You don't need to wait for me, you just find your own rhythm. Long breath in and a long breath out. Each breath in, try to imagine that you're breathing in nice, fresh, rejuvenating oxygen. It's filling deep down into your muscles and really helping to invigorate and refreshing our muscles with nice, fresh oxygen. each breath out, try to imagine that you're breathing out your stress and anxiety, perhaps in the form of black dust or a black cloud, really allowing it to leave your body. Each breath in, nice, fresh oxygen, rejuvenating those muscles. And each breath out, allowing that stress, anxiety and worry to leave your body, perhaps in the form of black dust or black cloud. And one last deep breath in. And on that last breath out, allowing any last stress or tension to leave your body. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes or bring your awareness to the room around you. Thank you so much for joining me for my breathing exercise today. I hope you found that helpful. Thank you very much to my live viewers. It's been lovely having you here, hopefully doing your breathing exercise along with me. And that is it for today. I hope you have found that enjoyable. Please, of course, send me a message. If you have any questions, you can do that via Messenger or via email. Of course, do like and love if you found this helpful, and feel free to share it if you know someone that might enjoy it. Thank you all for watching, and as always, don't forget there's never been a better day than today to take the steps to having your thriving mind and your thriving life. Bye for now.